In this video, I would like to start by giving credit to the Nerd is In, also known as Michael Kent, who's got an interesting YouTube channel, and I looked at his DOSBox on Mac OS video. I took some notes. Here, first of all, is the URL, but you can find the video by looking for DOSBox for Mac OS. Incidentally, I had DOSBox already running on Windows, on Linux, and also on a Mac, but not in an elegant way, which I'll mention in a minute. In order to get the video, in order to get the DOSBox up and running, I would recommend watching Ken's video, because he gives a very comprehensive explanation. We can take a brief peek at his video, and he uses it above all to demonstrate a game he likes to play, and he adjusted his presentation to getting that game up and running. Incidentally, I'm more interested in a program that a good friend of mine who passed away gave me about 20 years ago. It is a French dictionary by the name of Le Robert Electronique, and the nice thing is it runs entirely. It's just ASCII, so no graphics that use up space. If we, for instance, look at a word, we can look at the definition of the word in every detail, homonyms, synonyms, etc. But it also allows us to look at conjugations. So when we look at that same verb, aimer, and we look at the conjugation with Alt F4, and that's already one of the problems. The function keys as in relation to European keyboards versus American keyboards, finding the tilde and other shortcuts, which is, however, easily or well explained on various websites. So you install DOSBox by following Ken's explanation, and the problem I hurt myself against also in the past, and which in his explanation, if I look at his video, he had trouble finding the configuration file, and so he uses an automation, a shell script, which I find quite complicated. So
an automation using the automator, and I'll show you that in a clip. It's much easier to show you than to give you the steps in this presentation. Alright, so the last piece of the puzzle is...
And that was also a big piece of the puzzle for me, and fortunately one of his viewers, a gentleman by the name of, here are some notes I took, a gentleman by the name of David Krim, hinted by using Command Shift period, the hidden files become visible, and the question was, where does the configuration file sit? Well, that I found in another video or another file called config file location for Linux. This is the location for Windows, and for Mac OS the config file sits in the library under preferences, and for the given version of DOSBox that I'm using, it's DOSBox 0.74-3-3 preferences, and that you can edit quite simply. You find it, as I said, in the library, and the only change I made is I mounted all my programs sit in the folder called DOSBox, and I use the dir file. So let me show you. Let me escape again, and by going back into here. So when I run my DOSBox, this screen comes up, and I wrote some small batch files to call up, for instance, this Aubert, the dictionary, a calculator out of curiosity, and Norton Commander and miscellaneous other little programs.